The war in Iran, a conflict that's distorted trade and undermined global markets. And for Pakistanis, one that's shaking a very pillar of the country's economy. The remittances that overseas workers send back home from jobs in the Gulf nations.
Pakistan is highly dependent on remittances, that's especially from the Gulf.
The amount that remittance is contributing towards the growth of Pakistan is equivalent to the export to GDP share.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of Pakistanis leave for Gulf countries in search of jobs. The remittances they send back home pay for essentials. They ease pressure on households and bring in much-needed foreign exchange. But if the war drags on, could Pakistan face an economic shock? The pressure starts at home. Pakistan's population is growing fast, and that means more and more young people are reaching working age every year. Around 2 million join the workforce annually, but the economy struggles to create enough jobs for them. So migration becomes something of a pressure valve. Official registered migration began rising sharply in 2005, peaking near 1 million in 2015. Following a brief dip, the numbers rose again, reaching almost 900,000 in 2023 alone. And this migration has not been spread evenly around the world. From 2005 to 2015, rising oil prices sparked an economic boom in places like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And suddenly those countries needed large numbers of foreign workers. Gulf countries are the top destinations for Pakistani workers. In the past 10 years, more than 3.5 million Pakistanis moved to Saudi Arabia alone, and more than 2 million to the UAE.
Of course, people select UAE or Qatar or Bahrain for that matter because the distance from Pakistan is quite less, right? And the cost of visa and all those other things are quite less as compared to if you were to travel somewhere else.
And of course, the relationship is not one way. As the war reached into Gulf countries, Pakistani and other South Asian workers were still helping keep those economies functioning on the roads, at work sites, and in essential services.
I think a lot of the conditions are shared among Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, and many of them are in what we would call frontline industries right now. So a lot of middle-class workers have moved into working from home, but we still have a lot of delivery drivers, gardeners, security guards, lots of everyday labor that needs to take place outside.
But there's a reason that Pakistani workers are putting themselves at risk. Many of them are leaving families behind, which makes the money sent home even more important. Remittances do not go to the government or into state projects.
So primarily this is individuals sending money back to their families, right? An individual will usually send almost all of their salary back to their family back home.
That money not only helps cover the essentials of everyday life, it also does much more than that.
Migration not only improves the short-term and long-term investments in the market, small businesses prosper, education is enhanced, especially for girls, and we see that the health for boys is way better and significantly higher than that in the non-migrant households.
To put things into perspective, in fiscal year 2025, Pakistani workers sent home more than $38 billion. 54% of that came from the Gulf region. Saudi Arabia represented the largest share with almost $9.5 billion, followed by the UAE with nearly $8 billion. Remittances make up about 10% of Pakistan's GDP.
They are the largest source of foreign exchange, even exceeding exports, which are around 32.2 billion in the same time period. And for surpassing the foreign direct investment, which is around 2 billion.
But what happens to those remittances in times of global turmoil and uncertainty? If we look at one of our graphs again, we can see that the closest example was the first year of COVID, when almost no workers left Pakistan.
We've seen an increase in remittances during the COVID time period. Also, remittances act as a private social safety net, what we call the insurance motive of remittances, that people basically send more remittances during a hard time.
So one-time period shock does not mean that the entire benefit has been wiped out. So this is very important. You see, migrant households have been seen as people who tend to save the amount for difficult times. So we do not, even if for that time period specifically remittance falls down, the positive spillover that we are getting from the previous remittance flow still exists.
For now, remittances are still flowing, and history shows that they can even hold up in times of crisis. But if the war drags on, the bigger risk may come later, through weaker hiring, fewer departures, and more pressure on the country. For Pakistan, remittances remain a vital lifeline. But as this crisis shows, a country cannot rely forever on exporting its workers.